So we're going to talk about something super important, right? Making sure our AI systems aren't just powerful, but also responsible. Like that friend who's really smart, but also knows when to be careful. That's what we want from our AI. I'm sure many, all of us have heard stories about AI mishaps, right? Maybe biased hiring systems or facial recognition gone wrong. That's exactly why we need to get this right. So let's break down what responsible AI really means in this world. So the big five core dimensions would be, number one, if you think about it, right, fairness, like a good referee, transparency, no black boxes, right, privacy, almost, Fort Knox for data, right, reliability should be rock solid performance, and accountability, of course, taking responsibility. So making sure that we know who is responsible as well for the mishap, right? So let's start with fairness. Okay. So, how sometimes people say life isn't fair. Well, our AI systems don't get to use that excuse, okay? Here's the thing, our AI models can pick up biases from data faster than a toddler picks up bad words. Real example, Amazon once had an AI recruiting tool that preferred male candidates because it learned from historically male dominated hiring data, right? This is, by the way, I'm not sure if the story is about Amazon or some other organization. So I want to restate that's a hearsay. So yeah, so what can we do about it, right? Mix up your training data like a good salad, right? Variety is key. Keep checking for bias, like you're proofreading an important email you're about to send for your job application. Use tools like Amazon SageMaker Clarify to spot problems early. Okay. Now let's talk about transparency. It's like, have you ever had a friend who makes decisions but never explains why? Right? That's usually super annoying. They would say, "Hey, this is what we're gonna do. Hey, but why are we gonna do that?" That's what we want to avoid with AI. We need our AI assistant to be more like that friend who always gives you the full story. Why? Because people need to trust the system. We need to spot and fix problems. Regulators are getting stricter about this stuff, right? So for privacy, think of it like this. Your AI system should treat user data like secrets at a slumber party, okay? What happens there stays there. What happens in Vegas, it stays in Vegas, all right? So some practical tips: encrypt everything important, all right? Encrypt data at rest, in transit. Mask sensitive data, okay? Only collect what you really need. If you don't need more, a lot of information about your customer, then don't ask them for it, right? Reliability is huge, okay? Your AI system should be like that friend who always shows up on time, rain or shine, okay? So how do we get there? Test, and test again. Monitor performance constantly, have backup plans for when things go wrong. And for accountability, it's simple. If something goes wrong, someone needs to be responsible. No passing the buck to the algorithm, okay? So let me share some practical stuff that I have learned, all right? So start small and scale up. Always keep humans in the loop and document everything. Your future self will thank you, and your organization will thank you. Your auditors will thank you, yeah? Build in checks and balances. So AI isn't just some corporate buzzword or legal requirement, right? It's about building AI systems that can actually trust and use safely. It can use, can be used safely in the real world. Think of it this way: we're not just building tools; we're building AI systems that will interact with real people and make real decisions. So let's make sure that we do it right. Okay. So, in conclusion, responsible AI refers to the ethical and accountable development, deployment, and management of artificial intelligence systems. It ensures fairness, transparency, privacy, and accountability in all solutions, right? And with AWS services like Amazon SageMaker and Bedrock, adhering to responsible AI principles is critical for trust and compliance. All right. So we talked about fairness and bias, right? So fairness ensures models provide equitable treatment across all user groups and avoid discriminating behavior, right? So common bias types would be like label bias. Training data labels reflect historical prejudice, okay? Algorithmic bias. Model architectures preference can pertain unfairly. Data collection bias, right? Incomplete or non-representative data sets. So how could you make this fair, right? Well, use Amazon SageMaker for detecting bias during model training and apply diverse and representative data set and balance data to avoid underrepresentation. Okay. So let me recap explainability and transparency. So the explainability refers to the ability to understand how an AI model makes decisions. And transparency ensures stakeholders can assess the decision-making process. All right. So how AI is making decision, and if we are able to understand it, all the stakeholders understand it. All right. So the model cards in SageMaker provide documentation on how models were trained and evaluated. Right. So that's something to remember. One thing here to stress is that building a stakeholder trust is extremely important, right? Extremely. So moving forward to let's recap privacy and data security. So we said ensuring AI systems do not compromise user privacy and adhere to data protection laws. So that's the definition, right? And how do we do it? Encryption. You can use AWS KMS for for management services for data encryption, right? Data masking. Mask personally PII data using services like Amazon and anonymization, right? Implemented strategies for anonymizing the sensitive data sets. Amazon Bedrock guardrails is extremely important. It's extremely a powerful feature for content moderation and preventing and putting the guardrails around that. So robustness and reliability, that's kind of understood. We said robust AI systems maintain high performance under various conditions and data changes, right? And they avoid system failure in critical applications like healthcare and finance. So you will of course perform stress testing and adversarial testing, and you should use you could use Amazon SageMaker Model Monitor for continuous model quality checks. Okay. Going down to accountability and governance, so holding individuals and organizations accountable for AI-driven decisions and ensuring proper governance instructions, right? That is what it stands for. So how do organizations do that? By implementing role-based access control, right? Implement AWS IAM for control model access. Audit trails, so use AWS Cloudflare to actively tracking and compliance, and use accountability frameworks, right? So implement AWS well-architected framework guidelines for responsible AI. Okay, I have a lecture on that framework as well. So to wrap it up, core dimensions are fairness and bias mitigation, explainability and transparency, privacy and data security, robustness and reliability and accountability. Right? Why responsible AI matters? Because it prevents ethical risk and regulatory violations and enhances customer trust and model performance. I would highly recommend that you go and explore AWS SageMaker Clarify and Bedrock guardrails on your AWS console.